As some of you know, I'm a fan of the Disney series Star vs. the Forces of Evil. There are multiple AMVs of Star and Marco on my channel. Marco was once a regular cosplay for me, and my first How I'd Write was a continuation of the series. However, I've never made a video talking about the series itself. Star vs. the Forces of Evil means a lot to me, and I have much to say about the series. That's why I'm dedicating the whole month of February to reviewing Star vs. the Forces of Evil. So how's this going to work? Each week, I'm going to review a season from the series. I'm doing that because I have a lot to say about each season, and I feel it's better to talk about each season individually than the series as a whole. However, I will comment on what happened in previous seasons when covering a later one. Anyways, that's enough with the explanations. We have 4 seasons to cover, so let's get started with Season 1. As usual, let's start with the story. Star Butterfly is a magical princess from a dimension called Muni. After turning 14, she's given a magic wand that's been passed down for generations. However, she makes it clear she's not ready to control magic and needs training. So in her parents' infinite wisdom, they send her to Earth. Since Star can't live on her own, they decide to have her live with the family on Earth. That's where she meets Marco Diaz, the son of the family she's moved in with during her time on Earth. At first, he doesn't want anything to do with Star, but after fighting against monsters with her, he decides they should be friends. In terms of premieres, Star vs. the Forces of Evil was off to a great start. It shows enough of the 2 main characters to understand who they are, and it also showed that it was a comedy series with some excellent action in the fighting scenes. However, the characters drive the story, and Star and Marco are incredible at it. As stated earlier, Star is a magical princess from another dimension. Most of the comedy comes from Star misunderstanding things about life on Earth. For example, she attacked the staff at a pirate-themed restaurant because she thought they were actually pirates. Another example is Star thought a football game was the same as a battle between armies. While Star is one of the best comedic parts of the series, she's also a great character. She's a magical princess, but not the typical princess you would have seen in older Disney movies like Snow White. I know it's not a new concept to have princess characters like Star, but I still find Star entertaining. Also, not every episode is about shoving it down our throats that Star isn't your typical princess. Most of the episodes are just Star and Marco getting into crazy adventures. There is one episode that does talk about how princesses are, quote, supposed to act, unquote, but I'll talk about that later. Next, let's talk about Star's friend, Marco Diaz. In a lot of ways, Marco is the opposite of Star. Where Star is usually the type to throw caution to the wind, Marco is the type to try to think things through. For example, when it comes to his crush Jackie, Marco will overthink things instead of just going up and talking to her. Despite the differences, he and Star become close friends, and their dynamic is what makes the show great. Star shows him to let loose and have fun, while Marco shows her to think things through instead of always acting on instinct. I also love that the 2 of them are on equal ground throughout the series, instead of having Star be the one always saving the day. Yes, Star can use magic to win fights, but Marco can fight monsters with his bare hands. On top of that, his thinking has come in handy, like in the episode Quest By when he finds the charger Star's wand needs. Keep in mind that he's never been to Quest By before and could do that by examining how the store organized their chargers and realizing they were using the metric system. Having Star and Marco on equal footing makes their relationship unique, as it feels like they need each other to grow, as I mentioned earlier. Their friendship also feels real throughout the series, which is another reason I love seeing them together. While Star and Marco are friends that get along, sometimes they fight. There are only a few times they fight, but it's always a reason to make sense, like in the Blood Moon Ball when Marco went to make sure Star was okay, and Star got mad that he didn't trust her. It's not that she hates Marco, but she wants to make it clear she doesn't need him to save her like she's helpless. It's moments like that which make their relationship feel real. Sometimes we fight with our friends, and that's okay. It's almost impossible to always get along with anyone, regardless of how long you've known them. Not only do Star and Marco show that's normal, but they also show they can forgive each other and return to being friends again. There are other characters in the series, but most of them don't have much of an impact on Season 1. However, they do have more significant roles in the future, so I'll name them now. There's Jackie, a popular girl Marco has a crush on, and Jana, a girl who torments Marco, who's also into witchcraft. There's also Star's friend Ponyhead, a literal flying unicorn head, and Star's ex Tom, who's also a demon trying to get her back. For Season 1, Most of these characters just have a background role. A few have essential roles like Tom in Blood Moon Ball, but the focus stays on Star and Marco. However, it wouldn't be Star versus the Forces of Evil without the Forces of Evil. So let's talk about the villains of Season 1. The first villain we have is Ludo. The only reason he's after Star's 1 is he wants to take over the universe. No sad backstory, just Ludo trying to take over the universe. He's also a comedic villain whose plans fail no matter how he tries to get the 1. Another villain is Miss Heinous, who's in charge of St. Olga's reform school for wayward princesses. The school teaches princesses how to be, quote, proper princesses. In other words, they take away their individuality and brainwash them into thinking being an individual is wrong. The episode itself is one I enjoy because it is a Disney series saying the generic princess stereotype is wrong. It does it perfectly by having Marco start a revolt with the slogan, quote, it's not criminal to be an individual, unquote. It's also great seeing a villain like Heinous get beat in this episode, as the princesses are finally sick of being treated like criminals for having a personality. However, the best villain is Toffee. Toffee is another monster offering his services to Ludo, but you can tell he has his own plans for the 1. He's the type of villain in the background scheming until the right moment comes for him. He's also the type of villain that steals the show when he shows up, and the one you want to learn more about to see why he wants the 1. He's not shouting like Ludo about taking over the universe, so you're never sure why he's interested in getting the wand in the first place. While the series doesn't tell us much about Toffee's reasons in Season 1, it does give us a hint in the episode Independence Day. Not only that, the episode covers a topic I didn't expect to see in a Disney cartoon. In that episode, Star is celebrating a holiday for the day the mutants took over immunity from the monsters with her friends on Earth. However, Marco brings up some questions after she explains Independence Day. Star explains that mutants came to Muni and monsters attacked them. However, the Queen at the time used her magic to help the mutants fight them off. Marco questions this, though, since it seems like the mutants unfairly beat the monsters. On top of that, Star explains that the mutants came to Muni and were attacked by monsters. It doesn't address it during the season, but you start to wonder if the monsters were always living there, and that's why they attacked the mutants. Another reason you would think that is because we have examples in our own history of colonizing places and pushing natives away from their homes. Personally, it's one of the reasons I became a fan of the series. The episode brings up questioning your history when you notice something questionable. It also adds the layer that maybe the monsters have a reason to be mad at Star's family, since they're the ones that helped humans push them out of their homes. The series makes it fit into the lore, making you wonder what the real history is, and making you question whether monsters are the villains or not. It may not go much deeper in Season 1, but it was still laying down the groundwork for something the series would cover in the future. Overall, Season 1 of Star vs. the Forces of Evil was an excellent start for the series. It gave us interesting characters like Star and Marco, fun fight scenes, and amazing episodes like Independence Day and St. Olga's Reform School for Wayward Princesses. Not only did I like it, but even Disney was crazy about the series after the pilot aired. Not only did Disney greenlight the series after that, they immediately renewed it for a second season. Think about that. Only the pilot had aired, and Disney was already giving it at least 2 seasons. I will say, based on Season 1 alone, I think that choice paid off. Yeah, it might have been premature to do that, but at least Season 1 was good enough that I would have wanted another season anyways. Season 1 was a great start and got me hooked on Star vs. the Forces of Evil. Hey everyone, thanks for checking out my Star vs. the Forces of Evil review. I've honestly had thoughts of doing this for months, and figured since it's a new year, I should finally review it. Despite it being a new year though, I'm still curious about what all of you think. What are your thoughts on Season 1 of Star vs. the Forces of Evil? Do you think it was the right decision for Disney to give it a second season automatically? Also, do you like that I'm reviewing each season individually instead of the series as a whole? Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like this video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to see more of my content in the future. I'm Marco Strange. Stay safe. Stay strange.